Hello and thank you for joining us here at the First Alert Desk. I'm Maria Moreau. A lot of you have eaten your Thanksgiving turkey, have joined with family, and now are looking to the holidays, possibly shopping for a Christmas tree. And we want to talk a little bit about fire safety this winter season. It's an important thing that impacts nearly 47,000 homes are impacted by fire just in the winter seasons alone. And joining us today is Aris Papadopoulos. He is the founder of the Resilience Action Fund. He's an author as well and just an expert on all things fire safety. Aris, thank you so much for joining us here today. Your expertise is going to be valuable in a conversation like this where we're seeing so many homes being impacted by fires.
Thank you, Maria, for having me on your show and bringing this topic to your audience.
Absolutely. So let's get into why these fires occur. The main reasons, always with those temperatures dropping, we start to see more heaters and things being used in the home that are flammable. Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
Yes, it's important to keep flammable items away from heaters at least 3 feet away. And we're putting up a lot of decorations now during the holidays, so make sure that your tree, if it is a real tree or flammable tree, and any other flammable decorations are at least 3 feet away from heaters, fireplaces, any heat source that could cause ignition.
Absolutely. I know that's an important thing that a lot of people tend not to think about. You know, we know the tree is flammable, but the decorations could be just as dangerous. And that's something a lot of people should know as they are doing their Christmas tree shopping. I know I am about to start doing some of my own, but let's talk about some of the other things that could impact some of the appliances in the household that are more frequently used this time of year.
Well, obviously, we're going to be doing a lot of cooking during the holiday season, so make sure that flammable items are kept a safe distance from the stove top. And I include in that wrappings, packaging, plastic, anything that can catch on fire, paper, cloths, whatever. So make sure those are kept a safe distance from the stovetop.
Apologize, my audio skipped there. What about creating a safety plan? You know, we hear time and time again from fire officials the need to communicate a fire plan with family members. How can households go about doing that?
Yeah, I'd make it into a family exercise, like get all the family members together and say, okay, who does what in a case of a fire starting? Where are the fire extinguishers? Do we know how to use them? How do we alert the fire department? Where do we go? How do we get out of the house? Just make it an exercise for the whole family to participate in, and even pretend that you're walking through the motions. I think everybody will learn, but at the same time, kind of build some family cohesion.
And let's not forget about a particular family member that might not be at top of mind when we're talking about fire safety, and that is our pets, our cats, dogs, and other members of our household. Why is it important to create a plan for them as well?
Yeah, it's very important because they may have difficulty first being aware that a fire exists, and second, knowing what to do, where to move. Smoke is an important feature, in a fire. Smoke can be as dangerous or even more than a fire. So, if you do have a room filling with smoke, lying low, putting a wet towel, let's say, close to your face, and, either being able to get out through a window or through a door, but making sure that the other family members, can provide help.
I want to talk a little bit about in the event of a fire, you start to see a little smoke or something that appears to be a small problem start to rise. What are the best ways to identify a fire and know how to properly extinguish it?
Well, smoke is obviously a clear indication that something's on fire. And depending on the extent, if it's just starting, extinguishing it, and having fire extinguishers nearby, I recommend at least one fire extinguisher in the kitchen, one in each bedroom, one in the garage, and say one somewhere else near the living room, being able to extinguish that early fire. Obviously, if a fire has caught on, let's say the curtains or the furniture is caught on fire to a large extent, then evacuation should be the immediate action and getting all family members out of the house.
I'm so glad you brought that up because oftentimes we think of a fire starting in a kitchen, but really all areas of the house can be vulnerable, especially this time of year. You actually put out a quiz, the Early Adapter Quiz. I was hoping you could talk more about that. I got to take a look, and it is a fantastic tool for homeowners to properly prepare their home this time of year.
Well, we've seen a lot during this year, and it's a time of reflection as the year ends. Hurricanes, disasters, floods. And as we make our plans for next year and our resolutions, let's add in that thinking, what we can do to make our homes safer. And this quiz is really to help people think through flood-prone, dangers that exist in many homes near the coast or near rivers and creeks. And should they really take some early action if they're planning to stay in the house for a number of years, and if they own a house, particularly a single-family home. So this quiz kind of can help you kind of think through those things, whether you should be adapting the house, doing things like dry proofing or wet proofing, or more drastic changes like elevating the house or rebuilding the house. This guide kind of helps you walk through those thought processes, and it's a good thing to incorporate that into your plans for next year.
Absolutely, and we're going to have that full link to that quiz to make sure that you are asking questions about fire preparedness and ways to protect your home that you might not have considered before. So we'll make sure to have that on our website, atlantanewsfirst.com. I want to take a moment to talk about the most important factor in preventing fires, and that is being proactive, whether that's an alarm or another tool that could help you identify a fire. Why is it important to have these tools, and can you name a few for homeowners, especially first-time homeowners, to consider this time of year?
Yeah, definitely the fire alarms, as you mentioned, are probably the most important because they can pick up a fire much faster than humans can. And so, making sure that your fire alarms are working, you have at least a fire alarm in the kitchen, but also in each bedroom, and one in the main area, the living room area, family room area, etc. So that the fire extinguishers that I mentioned earlier, but also small choices that we make. For example, if you're buying a tree, a fresh tree, let's say, make sure it is fresh, that the needles don't break easily. And trees need water, so to keep it moist, for a week or so, you need to be watering it daily. So make sure that your tree is kept fresh. I've graduated to a artificial tree, a fire retardant artificial tree, which I enjoy as much, and I can reuse it every year.
I think I'll be getting one of those too as well. They're definitely a safe option this time of year, and keeping them away from those fires and places that we could have accidents. I want to thank you so much for having this very important conversation with me. Of course, more tips and resources, especially for my homeowners out there, are going to be on our website, atlantanewsfirst.com. Aris Papadopoulos, I appreciate your time. It's so good to talk to you.
Enjoy the holidays, and especially make them safe.
You too.